If we found a signal from another planet tomorrow, the world would stop. We would call it the discovery of the century. But what if I told you that an alien civilization is already here? They don't use radio waves, and they don't live under distant suns. They live in a place where the sun is a myth. 3 miles beneath the surface of our own ocean, in a zone where physics as we know it simply breaks. This is the Hadal Zone. The pressure here is 8 tons per square inch. Imagine a nuclear submarine, one of the strongest machines ever built by man. At this depth, that submarine would be crushed as easily as a soda can in a giant's fist. And then, there's the temperature. Near the hydrothermal vents, the water reaches 400 degrees Celsius. Hot enough to melt lead. It's a chemical furnace that should sterilize all life. But instead, it fuels it. Every biology textbook tells us that the sun is the source of all life, photosynthesis. But these creatures have committed the ultimate biological sin. They have completely cut out the sun. Through a process called chemosynthesis, they consume the toxic chemicals hydrogen sulfide and methane erupting from the Earth's core. They don't just survive on poison, they are built from it. They aren't biological in the way we are. They are biological machines, forged in a furnace. We call them extremophiles, but that's a human lie. They don't just survive the impossible, they've engineered it. Today, we decode the 3 species that redefine life itself. First, the tank, the scaly-foot snail. It doesn't just grow a shell, it forges a suit of iron-plated armor. It is the only animal in history to turn the toxic metals of the abyss into a magnetic shield. A biological machine that should be physically impossible. Second, the farmer, the yeti crab. In a world with zero food, it has built its own biological factory. It doesn't hunt. It dances in volcanic plumes to farm gardens of bacteria on its own body. It's a closed-loop system of survival that ignores every law of the food chain. And finally, the ghost, the giant tubeworm, a creature with no mouth, no stomach, and no eyes. It's a 6-foot-tall living lung that filters pure poison into pure energy. It is the ultimate testament to life's refusal to die.
Deep beneath the Indian Ocean, in a realm of crushing pressure and volcanic fire, nature did something it wasn't supposed to do. It built a cyborg. Meet Chrysomallon squamiferum, the scaly-foot snail. While every other animal on Earth builds its body from calcium and carbon, this creature harvests toxic iron sulfide from volcanic vents and forges it into a magnetic metallic suit of armor. It is the only animal in the history of life to merge with iron. It doesn't just live in the abyss, it's built by it. But look closer at the engineering. This isn't just a shell, it's a masterclass in defense. MIT researchers discovered a 3-layer sandwich structure that humans have spent billions trying to replicate. The outer iron layer is designed to take the hit, creating tiny micro cracks that absorb the energy of a predator's strike, preventing the shell from ever shattering. It's a biological blueprint for the next generation of bulletproof helmets and deep space hulls. We aren't just studying a snail, we're studying the future of human defense. And there's a side effect to being made of metal. This snail is magnetic. In a world of total darkness, it acts as a living compass, potentially navigating the Earth's magnetic ley lines to find the vents that keep it alive. But there's a catch. The very iron that protects it has made it a target. This snail is the first species ever declared endangered by deep-sea mining. We are literally mining the only Iron Man of the animal kingdom out of existence before we can even decode its secrets. As incredible as an iron-plated snail is, it's only the first piece of the puzzle, because while the snail built a tank, our next alien built a factory, a creature that dances in poison to grow its own food. It's time to meet the farmer. This is Kiwa hirsuta, better known as the yeti crab. At first glance, it looks like a mistake of evolution. A blind, ghostly white crustacean covered in thick, silky fur. But look closer. That isn't fur. Those are specialized bristles called setae, and they are the secret to one of the most advanced survival strategies on Earth. You see, in the deep ocean, food is a luxury. Most creatures wait for marine snow, scraps of dead fish falling from above. But the Yeti crab doesn't wait, it farms. Those hairy claws are actually mobile gardens for chemosynthetic bacteria. These bacteria don't need sunlight. They eat the toxic methane and sulfides pouring out of the seafloor. Scientists have observed these crabs performing a rhythmic, haunting dance over the volcanic vents. They aren't celebrating, they are tilling the fields. By waving their claws in the mineral-rich smoke, they ensure their bacterial crops get a fresh supply of nutrients and oxygen. When the harvest is ready, the crab uses comb-like mouthparts to shave the bacteria off its own arms and eat. But the brilliance of the Yeti crab goes beyond farming. Engineers in the field of soft robotics are now studying these crabs to solve a major human problem. Most robots are clumsy. They break delicate objects. But the Yeti crab's bristles are a masterpiece of sensory feedback. By mimicking the hairy interface of the crab, we are developing robots that can handle fragile coral or perform a surgery with a level of touch that was previously thought impossible. The Yeti crab proves that in the harshest environments, you don't just need armor to survive, you need a garden. But as strange as a farming crab is, our final alien defies the very definition of an animal. It has no mouth, no stomach, and it lives in a world of pure poison. Meet the ghost. Deep on the Pacific floor, growing in clusters that look like alien forests, is Riftia pachyptila, the giant tube worm. These creatures can grow up to 8 feet tall, but they defy every rule of biology we know. They have no mouth, they have no stomach, they have no eyes, and they have no way to eat. For decades, they were a walking scientific paradox until we looked inside. The tube worm has replaced its entire digestive system with a specialized organ called a trophosome. This organ is packed with billions of bacteria that perform a miracle called chemosynthesis. They take the toxic hydrogen sulfide from the vents, stuff that would kill a human in seconds, and turn it into pure energy. But it's the tube worm's blood that has caught the attention of the medical world. To feed its bacteria, the worm uses a unique type of hemoglobin that carries both oxygen and toxic sulfide at the same time without dying. Scientists are now studying this super blood to create new types of artificial blood substitutes for humans. This ghost of the abyss might one day be the reason a trauma patient survives in an ER thousands of miles away from the ocean. The giant tube worm proves that life doesn't need the sun. It doesn't even need a mouth. It just needs a partner. So why does any of this matter? Why spend billions of dollars sending robots into a dark, crushing abyss to look at the snails and worms? Because these Earth aliens are holding the keys to our future, and the world's most elite institutions are already paying attention. At MIT, researchers funded by the US Army have successfully decoded the Scaly-foot snail's iron armor. They are using its 3-layer design to develop the next generation of bulletproof materials and the scratch-free airplane hulls. The snail's biology is literally becoming the shield for our future soldiers. Meanwhile, NASA and Harvard engineers are looking at the Yeti crab to solve the greatest challenge of a space exploration. By mimicking the crab's sensitive, hairy bristles, they are building soft robotic hands that can feel in the dark. This technology is being tested right now for future missions to the ice-covered oceans of Jupiter's moon, Europa. And the tube worm? It's already saving lives. Medical researchers have successfully isolated a superhemoglobin from deep-sea worms that is 40 times more efficient at carrying oxygen than our own blood. It's being used in clinical trials to preserve organs for transplants and treat trauma patients in ways we once thought were impossible. But there is one final mystery. If life can thrive in the toxic, lightless vents of Earth, it can thrive anywhere. When we eventually send probes to the frozen moons of Jupiter or Saturn, we won't be looking for little green men. We will be looking for the tank, the farmer, and the ghost. The abyss isn't a graveyard. It's a laboratory, and we've only just begun to read the results. Thanks for watching.